Let us not forget everything that happens. It's by the will of Allah. Holy will. It's time to unite and stand, and we will be the best amongst men. It's not time to be extreme or duty unthinkable, but to stand together as one. Tune into Sunnahfollowers, streaming every day, various platforms. Trust me, you'll find a way. Sunnahfollowers. Assalamu alaikum, new class alert. Join us every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. Central for the Articles of Belief by Muhammad S. Adly, right here on Sunnahfollowers.
Okay. Inshallah, everybody can see me. Ina alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salam ala wa rasulullah. I want to welcome everybody to our hadith class. And for this class, not hadith class. This is our class on the articles of belief. The articles of belief. And this is based on the book written by Sheikh Muhammad S Adly entitled Articles of Belief. And for those of you who have not yet purchased this book, please go to adlyonline.com and get it, because it should be a part of every Muslim's library, because this book breaks down. It breaks down in a simple way, a very simple way, what it means to believe in Allah. When we say we believe in him, what do we believe? We believe that he's the only one. We believe that he's the only one worthy of worship, number one. Number two, we believe in all his angels, all his books, all his prophets. We believe in the day of judgment and everything Allah has told us about that. We also believe in his decree that nothing in this world happens unless he wills it to happen. And that also includes his knowledge of all things. So, this book breaks down the articles of belief in a little bit more detail. Mashallah, I enjoy teaching it. I thought that I was going to finish the book today. But this last chapter is speaking about belief in the predestination, in the qadr of Allah. And I think it's best to not rush through it, so I broke it up again. Today, we're just going to speak about his manifestation. Today, I'm going to speak about his manifestations. And then next week, maybe we'll wrap up this topic, because I don't want to give too much, at one time, because it's hard enough for people to accept and understand what predestination is. So with that said, let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen. Let me take everything down. And let me share my screen, first of all, to you guys. And I'll upload. I'll share to the people here in Zoom. A second. Okay, everybody in Zoom, inshallah, you should be able to see this. And now for the people on YouTube. Yeah, there it is, inshallah. So there it is. And let's make the screen a little bit larger for everyone. Okay, so tonight we're going to be covering again the third session of what it means to believe in predestiny. And when we talk about predestiny, we're speaking about how not only does Allah have knowledge of the future, meaning not only does Allah have knowledge as to what's going to happen tomorrow. But Allah is the one that created everything that's going to happen too. Everything that exists in this world, good and evil, he created. And that's what we're going to be speaking about today, inshallah. So let's put the first page up here. Okay, so belief in the predestination includes believing in all manifestations. What does that mean? That everything that happens because Allah wanted it to happen. And this is important. A lot of Muslims today cannot handle what's going on in the world. They can't handle what's going on in Gaza. Why? Because they think that what's going on in Gaza is happening because the Zionists willed it to happen. These Muslims do not understand that the reason why this genocide, this war is happening is because Allah wanted it to happen, not the Zionists. Just like it's been going on in Africa since 2011 and nobody seems to care. But it's been happening to the Muslims in Africa since 2011 and nobody seems to care. Okay, Allah wills everything to be as it is. Okay, so for a Muslim who believes in the Qadr or predestination, he must also believe and understand that nothing happens or exists in regards to Allah or us without his will. Where's my dalil? Here it is. Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning, and your Lord creates whatever he wills and chooses. Okay? So knowledge, writing, and the will, all of this comes from Allah with his permission. As again, he says in the interpretation of the meaning, he, your Lord, creates whatever he wills and chooses. So why is the war in Gaza happening? Because Allah wanted it to happen. And since he wanted it to happen, he made it happen, whether you like it or not. Why are the Muslims being genocided in Africa? And why is it that the rest of the Muslims don't seem to care? Because Allah willed that too. Oh yeah, good and bad. Allah wanted you to see what's going on in Gaza. He wants everyone to see what's happening there. And Allah wants everyone to not care about what's happening in Africa. So everything is happening through his will, his choice. Just like we make choices for ourselves, Allah makes choices as to what will happen and when, where, and how. Does everybody understand that? He's in command. He does what he wants. And he doesn't owe you nor me an explanation. So we have to believe this. In addition to us believing that nothing happens unless Allah wants it to, we have to also believe that all created things, they exist because Allah wanted them to exist. Whether this relates to his actions, creation, life, death, health, whatever. A lot of people talk about COVID. Why did COVID appear? Because Allah willed it. Allah is the one that created COVID. Allah is the one that created. Allah tells us in the Quran that all diseases come from him. He creates them. And then he puts them on the wings of the jinn. The jinn that fly through the sky, they're the ones that spread the disease, the contagion. So all contagious diseases are spread by the jinn that fly. Why? Because Allah wills it. So just like Allah wanted this war to happen, and it is, he wanted COVID to exist, and it does. So we have to believe this and stop giving Allah's power to humans. Listen to what Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning. Your Lord creates whatever he wants and chooses. So just like whatever happens because he wanted it to and he chose it to. Whatever exists because he wanted it to and he chose it to. He wanted lupus to exist. He wanted polio to exist. He wanted measles and smallpox to exist. He wanted AIDS to exist. He wanted herpes to exist. He wanted COVID to exist. He wanted it and he chose it, and so it shall be written, and so it shall be done, etc., etc., etc. Y'all understand that? Also, as Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning, it is he who shapes you in the womb of your mother, however he wills. A lot of people say that. Why is it that some children come out deformed? Because Allah willed that child to. Allah wanted that child to be born with 7 toes. Allah wanted that child to be born without a nose. Allah wanted that child to be born a midget. Why? Because he chose it. And it's not for you and me to question. We just accept that everything that happens, good and bad, happens because he willed it. Whatever he wills to be will occur. And whatever he does not will to happen won't happen. He didn't want you to be born with a nose. So that's why you were born without one. Everybody understand? So we believe in Allah's will. We believe that Allah, nothing good or evil happens unless he wills it. And we also have to believe that all beings, their essence, their character, their qualities and actions are created by Allah too. And this is where we lose it. This is where the Mu'tazila, the Sufis come in and distort things. Listen to what Allah says in the interpretation, the meaning. Allah is the creator of all things, and he is the trustee and guardian over all things. Allah is the creator and guardian over everything, good and bad. He's the creator and guardian over the night and the day, the good and the evil. Rain is caused because he willed it. Fire and snow exist because he willed it. What we consider as accidents are not accidents. They're what Allah willed. So it wasn't an accident that that child was born without a nose. It wasn't an accident that that child was born with 7 toes. It was a perfection of Allah. Does everybody understand that? Because nothing exists unless he wills it. And we have to believe this. And this is where we lose a lot of people, because they can't understand this. They ask, why would Allah do that? Why would Allah create a child without a nose? Well, for many reasons. Probably to test you, to see if you would make a comment like that. Because whenever we ask why Allah does anything, you invalidate your belief in him. And remember, Allah tells us that everything that happens in this world is a test of faith for us. So we never ask why he does what he does. We just simply say, oh Allah, I hear you, and I submit to what you've done. Remember, Shaitan has no power to make you do anything, nor does Shaitan have the power to create anything. Okay? There's no such thing as everything bad comes from the devil and everything good comes from Allah. This is garbage. Everything good and bad exists because Allah willed it. Listen to what Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning. While Allah has created you and what you make. Again, Allah, he's the creator of all things. Good and bad are created by him and from him. Allah tells us in one of the verses of the Quran, whatever good happens to you, happens, it came from Allah as a result of of the good you've done. And whatever bad that happens to you happens because Allah willed it to be and as a punishment for you or a test. So he's the creator of good and evil. Again, everything was written down over 50,000 years before Allah even created the earth and the heavens. So again, we have to accept these things and not sit around asking why. So now let's give you a quiz. I'm going to give you a quiz. I'm going to see how well you guys understood this little short presentation. There's only 3 questions. They are all 3 questions of fiqh. Let's take a look at the first one. Allah has no imperfection regarding his creation. So how do you explain a dog born with 3 legs? Who would like to answer that one? How do you explain a dog born with 3 legs? Since Allah has no imperfection and he created us all, he perfected us all the way he willed. Anyone, how do you explain a dog coming in the world with just 3 legs? It's a simple answer.
Because the dog is supposed to come in with 3 legs if he was born like that.
Why was he supposed to come in?
Allah willed for that dog to come with only 3 legs.
Exactly. That's the answer. See how short that answer was? How do you explain a dog being born with 3 legs? This was the qadr of Allah. Allah wanted him to be born with 3 legs. And he is perfect. Allah created him perfectly. Allah willed for him to come out with 3 legs, and he did. So that's perfection. Real simple. Next question. Some people grow up and become bad criminals. Did Allah create them this way? Explain your answer. Who would like to handle that?
No, he did not create them to be bad criminals because he wills things to happen, but he does not make our own choices for us. We are presented with good and bad through our jinn, our angel, and our hearts, and the environment around us and the company we keep. So it is up to us whether or not we choose the good path or the bad path.
What do you guys think of her answer?
I agree.
MashaAllah, that was beautifully worded. Was that Sister Aya? Yeah, good. MashaAllah. She's doing so much better. See how she was able to answer from her heart? You guys, it'll get easier and easier as your faith continues to grow and you keep coming here and participate in these quizzes. You'll be able to answer like that. Good job. You know, people make their own choices. The person chose to take the path of criminology. Okay? So don't blame it on Allah. Blame it on him. Good job. What about this one? Why does poverty, starvation, and other bad things like that exist? Why does poverty, starvation, and other bad things like that exist? Anyone? It's easy. Nobody can get on the mic? Come on.
Because it's Allah's will for it to happen. And it depends on the person. Either it can be a test for a person, a punishment for a person, with the poverty or survival. So it was Allah's will.
MashaAllah, another perfect answer. Y'all see how Mina's getting better too. Exactly. Why do they exist? Because Allah wanted them to exist. So they do. And he already tells us that the bad, that he created the good and the evil as a means of testing us. He said, do you not think that just because you believe in me that I won't test you with poverty, I won't test you with starvation, with murder, with death, with crime? So everything that exists good and bad because he wanted it to.